Today is Friday, so let's talk the Fed, interest rates, inflation, and employment, and currencies. Okay? So there's so many Fed governors speaking, it's like amazing, okay? So my read could be totally wrong, just my observation. We have a split Fed. Bostic, in my opinion, is leading the hardliners, and Williams is leading the doves who want to cut. So when you look at the data, when you look at the inflation data, okay, yes, it's been coming down for 2 years, but it's not nearly where the Fed said they want it to be. We've kind of just said, we're moving on, we're raising the inflation rate. My opinion on the inflation rate, and I did this a year and a half, 2 years ago, is that it will come in waves, and we are nowhere near the end of inflation. I believe that you're going to look back at 3, 5, 7% inflation and think, wow, we had it good then, okay? Second, on the employment numbers, I don't get it. I don't know what anyone's watching. Our average for the last 125 years is 5.8%. We're at 4.2. And to say that, we're going to cut interest rates, I mean, Merrill Lynch has 3 50 bip cuts on the board for this year. Now, even with all this going on, even when everyone's saying we're cutting the rates, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, okay, this is what I think, okay? They're going to do the quarter point in September. I don't think anything can stop that, because if they didn't, I think the market would crash. So they're not going to do that. They'll cut us by a quarter point. The point is I think that's it. And I said this a year and a half ago. There'll be one cut this year. It'll be late in the year, August, September, October, and it's going to happen in September. Waller just came out and said the United States is not in a recession, and there's no recession on the horizon. So again, why are we cutting our interest rates? So we are going to cut them, so how is the world reacting? Well, look at the currencies. The dollar's down. Look at the yen. It's up. It's up to 142 now. By the way, just went through the level that caused the last crash a couple weeks ago. So you have the yuan going up against the dollar. You got the yen going up against the dollar, all right? And they're going up because we're cutting, and as you know, the BOJ said we're open to raising. If we have to raise the interest rates, we will raise them, all right? So he said this like 2 or 3 times, so I guess we can take him at his word, but I'd say we'll see if they actually raise the rates. I think for their government expenses, it's just too hard for them to do, but they may do it to protect the currency. So here we are. We're going into September. We're almost going to be there at the 18th, and they are going to cut the rates. So if they cut them a quarter point, what happens then? What happens to the dollar? What happens to the yen? What happens to the stock market, okay? Now, if they cut them 50 basis points, I just think that would be incredibly negative. It would show that the Fed is actually panicking, because the employment and the inflation in no way, shape, or form says that we should be cutting the rates by 50 basis points. I was reading Bloomberg today, and someone put out his opinion that the Fed should cut the rates 3 times in the next 3 months for the young people. That's who we should cut it for the young people. What does that mean for the young people? It makes no sense. Listen, do I want the rates to go down? Sure, I want the rates to go down. But if it causes us more economic pain than staying where they are or even raising them, I'm not so much for it. So, what does this all mean to you and I? We won't know until the 18th, when the Fed kind of gives us a clue on what they're going to do. My bet remains the same. It's going to be 25 basis points. I don't see it anywhere else. Will it cause a dislocation in the currency markets? We're going to find out. Will it drive down the stock market? Look at the 10-year bond. We hit like 363 this morning. Now we're 373. All right. As I said, if they cut by a quarter or even a half point, I believe that the 10-year bond is going to go up in yield, down in price. But right now, first it went down in yield. Now it's back up higher. So we're going to find out. It's going to be very interesting. So like and follow and tell me what you think.